It was one of those cold nights when the sky could not decide if it wanted to thunder or weep. The rain poured endlessly, hitting the empty streets with a rhythm only loneliness could understand. Streetlights flickered and cars moved slowly through the flooded roads. In one quiet corner of the city, a man in his mid-30s pedaled a rusty bicycle, his jacket soaked, shoes splashing in puddles. His name was Ryan Cooper. Ryan worked at a warehouse during the day and took small part-time jobs in the evening just to make enough to pay rent and buy groceries for his mother. Life had not been kind to him lately. He had been laid off from a better job 6 months ago, and since then, every interview he went to ended with the same line: "We'll call you." But no one ever did. Yet even with so little left, his heart was never empty. As he turned a corner, he noticed a silver car stopped in the middle of the road, hazard lights blinking. Beside it stood a woman in her late 20s, wearing a white coat now drenched in rain. She looked anxious, trying to shield herself from the storm with her purse. Ryan slowed his bicycle and stopped nearby. "Is everything all right, ma'am?" he asked, his voice calm even as water dripped from his hair. She sighed. "My car just stopped. I think the engine died. I tried calling for help, but the signal keeps dropping." Ryan looked around. The street was nearly empty. "Let me take a look," he said. The woman hesitated. "You don't have to. You'll get drenched." He smiled faintly. "Already am." He parked his bicycle and leaned over the car hood. Rainwater streamed down his face as he checked the engine with the small flashlight on his phone. After a few minutes, he closed it and said, "It's overheated. You should not try to start it now. Let's push it to the side before it blocks traffic." Without waiting for a reply, he began to push the car from behind. The woman quickly joined him. Together, they managed to move it under the shelter of a nearby tree. "You should sit inside till the rain slows down," he suggested. She nodded, but looked at him worriedly. "What about you?" He shrugged. "I'm used to rain. It's better than being cold inside a small room." She smiled softly. "You're kind." He handed her his umbrella. "Keep this. I've got my jacket." She tried to refuse, but he insisted. "Take it. You need it more." She looked at him for a moment and said, "Thank you. What's your name?" "Ryan," he replied, smiling, before hopping back on his bicycle. "Stay safe, miss." "Claire," she said. "Thank you, Ryan." He waved and disappeared into the rain. Inside the car, Claire sat quietly, staring at the umbrella. Something about that man's selfless kindness moved her. He hadn't asked for anything, not even his number, not even praise. The next morning, Ryan woke up early. His shoes were still damp, his clothes not fully dry. Today was important. He had an interview at a company called Brightway Logistics. He had applied for the position of operations assistant. It was his last chance before rent was due. He pressed his only iron shirt and combed his hair neatly. His mother wished him luck with a warm smile. "Just be yourself, Ryan. The world needs more men like you." He reached the company building, heart pounding. The office was bright and modern, filled with people in crisp suits. Ryan walked up to the receptionist nervously. "Good morning. I have an interview at 10. The receptionist nodded. "Please, take a seat, Mr. Cooper. The HR manager will call you soon." Ryan sat quietly, hands clasped, trying to calm himself. After a few minutes, he heard a familiar voice from behind. "You can send the next candidate in." He turned slowly and froze. Standing near the glass door was Claire, the same woman from last night. Her hair was tied neatly, her white blazer spotless. She looked powerful and confident, completely different from the drenched woman in distress he had met before. For a moment, she stared at him in disbelief. "Ryan?" He stood up, confused. "Claire?" The receptionist looked between them, surprised. Claire smiled gently. "Please, come in." Ryan followed her into the office, still unsure what was happening. She gestured for him to sit down. "So, you're the same Ryan Cooper who helped a stranger in the rain last night." He nodded awkwardly. I didn't know you worked here." She laughed softly. "I don't just work here, I own this company." Ryan blinked in shock. "You're the owner?" She nodded. "My father built it, and I've been running it for 3 years. She paused, then looked at him kindly. "You had no idea, yet you still stopped to help me."
Ryan smiled humbly. It was just the right thing to do. Claire folded her hands. You had every reason to keep riding. It was late, it was raining, but you didn't. That kind of kindness is rare. She picked up his resume. Your experience fits perfectly for our logistics department, but even if it didn't, I'd still hire you. Ryan looked surprised. You'd hire me? Yes, she said, smiling, not because you helped me, but because this company needs people like you, people with integrity. Ryan's eyes welled up. Thank you, ma'am. Please, she said gently, call me Claire, and welcome to Brightway Logistics. That evening, Ryan returned home with a smile his mother hadn't seen in years. He placed the offer letter on the table and said, Mom, I got the job. She hugged him tightly. I told you kindness never fails. Weeks passed, and Ryan settled into his new job. He worked hard, stayed humble, and became everyone's favorite at the office. Claire often noticed how respectfully he treated others, the janitors, the delivery drivers, even the interns. One afternoon, she called him into her office. Ryan, we're expanding our community outreach program. I want you to lead it. He looked surprised. Me? But I'm just an assistant. She shook her head. You're more than that. You understand what kindness really means. Ryan accepted. Together, they launched a project called Wheels of Hope, a community drive to repair old bicycles for underprivileged children who walked miles to school. The initiative gained huge attention in the city, and Ryan's name started appearing in local newspapers as the man who turned kindness into change. Months later, Claire hosted an annual company dinner. As she stood on the stage, she looked towards Ryan and smiled. I want to tell you all a story, she began. A few months ago, I met a man in the rain. He helped me when I was stuck and didn't even know who I was. That small act of kindness changed both our lives. Today, that man is one of our strongest employees, and he reminds us every day that character matters more than wealth. The entire hall clapped as Ryan stood, embarrassed but proud. Claire added, kindness costs nothing, but it creates everything. Later that night, Ryan stepped outside the hall and looked up at the sky. It was drizzling lightly, almost like the night they had met. He smiled to himself, remembering how life had turned around because of one simple decision to help a stranger. As the rain touched his face, he whispered, Thank you, God, for reminding me that small acts can make big miracles. Years passed, Brightway Logistics grew into one of the city's most respected companies. Ryan eventually became the director of operations, known not just for his skills, but for his heart. He started a foundation under the company's name to help unemployed youth find jobs. Claire often told new employees, success is built on hard work, but greatness comes from kindness. Every rainy night reminded Ryan of that moment, when helping someone in need changed everything. He often repeated to himself before sleeping, kindness is never wasted. It always finds its way back, sometimes when you least expect it. Moral of the story: no act of kindness is ever small. When you help others without expecting anything in return, life finds a way to reward you in ways you never imagined. Karma doesn't forget goodness, it just waits for the perfect moment to return it.